Hello, my dears. Daniela here, and welcome to another episode of the Spa Marketing Made Easy podcast. Are you guys ready for a good episode? Because I have a great one for you. This is one of my favorite interviews. Our conversation just flowed so easily. It's with my friend Amanda Louisa, and she is sharing her journey from solo esthetician to spa owner. And she shares her wins, her successes, the bumps along the road. And what I love the most about her is her mindset, her approach. She does the work. She goes all in. But before we get into that, I have just a quick update for you. How many of you guys have heard about the free esthetician business book club that we're starting over in the Spa Marketing Made Easy Facebook group? Oh my gosh, I'm so excited. The first meeting is going to be November 25th at 3:30 Eastern Standard Time. I'm going to hop on Facebook Live over in the group and just go through, start a conversation. Let's chat about this book. We're reading You Are a Badass at Making Money by Jen Sincero. So if you're an esthetician that has an issue with charging your worth or increasing your prices or selling $300 serums or always feeling like you have to give your clients a deal, I want you to read this book. I want you to show up live in the Facebook group at 3:30 Eastern Standard Time on November 25th so we can talk about all of the amazing lessons from this book. I've read it several times. I think this is going to be my fourth time reading it, if that's correct. I get something new out of it every time because these money blocks, these issues around money that all of us have, they don't just go away. It's something that you have to continually work on. There's always that new level, new devil. So they just show up in different ways. Please join us. It's totally free. It's another way for us to build community and connect while growing our businesses. Now, if you feel like you're too busy to read, here is the deal. 15 minutes a day. If you can commit to 15 minutes, just read for 15 minutes before you go to bed. It'll help you fall asleep. You will get through the whole book in a month, I promise you. It's an awesome book. It's hilarious. It's a quick read. If you don't want to read the actual book, get it on Audible. Listen to it on your commute. So good. It is a game changer. So highly recommend it. Hope to see you guys there for our very first Esthetician Business Book Club. And now, without further ado, I'm going to go ahead and play that interview, that awesome interview with Amanda Louisa. All right, Amanda, thank you so much for being on the Spa Marketing Made Easy podcast.
Hi, Daniela. Thank you so much for having me. I'm so excited to share my story with all of your listeners.
So if you guys are watching this video, I think it's pretty clear that Amanda is a brow specialist. Look at those brows. Every time I see you, I have major brow envy. I'm like, oh my gosh, I love them.
Oh, thank you.
So for those of our listeners that don't know who you are, can you tell a little bit about your story, your solo esthetician, working a day? What's your journey in aesthetics to get to where you are now?
Oh my gosh, that's a great question. So I was born and raised in California, Northern California, close to San Francisco.
Oh, me too. Well, I was born in Benicia. Did you know that?
No, I did not. I mean, technically I was born in Orange County, but I lived near Santa Cruz.
Okay. Yeah.
Really close.
Beach Boardwalk.
Yeah, my favorite. That's my favorite place. And I was super, super close with my aunt. She is an esthetician. For as long as I've known her, my whole life, she's been an esthetician. And she's just been such an inspiration to me. I love her so much. And she's helped guide me through everything, just going through puberty. And she was the first person that did my brows and showed me how to do makeup. And she bought me my first SPF. which was a big deal.
You're going to be thanking her big time, especially when you get into your 40s and 50s.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
Not amazing. So I didn't even know that aesthetics was a profession until I was in my 20s. And I was like, wait, people do this as a job? This is what I want to do.
Yeah.
I was always the one that, like, if it were prom or something, like, everyone would come to my house, we would do hair and makeup and all of that kind of stuff. But I never knew that it was like an actual job that,
Yeah. Yeah.
So that's
same.
so cool that you knew that, like, you had that inspiration and now I'm totally the mom that's like slathering my kid in sunscreen. like, I don't care if it's winter, you need SPF.
Yeah. Just as important. Absolutely.
So are you still really close with your aunt? Is she?
Oh.
So, but you're in Chicago now, right? So, or outside of Chicago?
Yeah. I'm about like 2.5, 3 with traffic, 2.5 to 3 hours southwest of Chicago.
So, people that don't live in Illinois, everybody that lives in Illinois lives in Chicago.
Pretty much. That's the running joke, definitely. So yeah, I live really close. I usually just tell people from, my friends back home, I'll just be like, yeah, I'm in Chicago now. And then they'll fly into Chicago and be like, oh, let's meet up. And I'm like, ooh, I'm actually like 3 hours away.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay.
But your aunt still lives in Santa Cruz?
Yes, absolutely. Yeah. And she is still an esthetician, constantly getting continuing education. I love learning through her as well. She's always just been so grounded is the word. And I've admired that about her. And I aspire to be that way myself. And I want to be that for my clients. And so about 4 years ago, I moved to Illinois with my partner. He got a really good job at a Fortune 50 company. And so I followed him here. And when I got here, I had a bachelor's degree in biology. I had my license in cosmetology. So I'm actually technically not a licensed esthetician, but I am a licensed cosmetologist. And so I didn't work right away in aesthetics. I actually did advanced training first. I went to a lot of classes in advanced skincare, in Brazilian waxing. I took everything I could get my hands on, and I just wanted to be a sponge and absorb it all. And then about a year after being here, I literally walked in off the street to the spa that I was getting my Brazilians from. And I was like, I want to work here. I kind of threw a fit just a little bit. And I was like, I want to work here. I had been applying to places and I was not getting any luck. And so I just walked in and I was like, I need to speak to the owner right now.
And this is happening. You're going to hire me. Let me tell you.
Yes. You don't know it yet, but it's going to happen. And I was like, I will literally sweep your floors. Like, just let me do anything. And she was like, let's get coffee. Let's talk. So I talked with her. She hired me on as a marketing. I had my hand in a couple different baskets. I was curating her products. I helped her with marketing. And then she trained me a little bit on some things. And then I was able to take clients. I was able to start taking clients after about, I want to say like 6 or 9 months. And that's where I really got my hands-on experience up until, because I put myself through college doing brows and cutting hair. And so I would charge people $5 for a haircut, and people would just throw 20 at me. And so I was making more working like 10 hours in college doing hair and brows than my 2 part-time jobs. So I was like, this has got to be something legit. It has to be.
Yeah. Showing you the money.
Yeah, I know. And so fast forward to me being in my first job as working in aesthetics. And I got a lot of hands-on experience. I made some great friends. And then maybe about a year later, I went solo. I went out on my own. And that was kind of where I met you. And by that point, I was listening to your podcast actively. It was, you know how like you can queue up different podcasts whenever yours came on. I just went straight to it and I was like, clear the queue. We're listening to Daniela now. So that was my, I just wanted to get my hands on anything that I could. And it was about this time that I was realizing that I was missing the mark somewhere. And I knew it was retail because in school, I remember them saying it should make up about 50% of your total sales. And I think when I actually did the math, it was like 3.2%. So I was not doing hot.
Yeah. And you did awesome. I mean, so we wanted to invite, it's kind of this full circle moment because I love when we have people that have been listening to the podcast for a long time, but you ended up joining Spa Retail Rockstar, and we have a lot of amazing women in that program. Like, I'm so proud of the community we've created, but you really stood out to my entire team. And it was like, cause we talk about like, who should we invite to be on the podcast? Like whatever, but it was because of your mindset and the way that you just kind of approached everything. And obviously you got like amazing results as well. But I'm hearing more and more when you're talking about like, oh, my aunt taught me to be grounded. And when I decided I want that job, I went in there and I said I was just going to get it. There's like, we're like peeling back the layers of the onion. And now I'm understanding more and more, because when you came into Spa Retail Rockstar, you're like, I'm doing this, and you're like, it scares the, crap out of me, but I'm doing it. And you just showed up. And that was I was like, yes, this is like the exact person that we want in the room, because it's not only like, it's great for you, but it's also really motivating for everybody else to see. Cause it's not, we have some amazing testimonials too of people that like, oh, I increased by 5,000 or 6,000. And those are cool, but I feel like you're like the slow and steady, like going to just build this empire kind of person.
Thank you so much for saying that. That is my goal. And honestly, you've helped me realize that. You've asked me the tough questions that I didn't even think to ask myself. And you're right, the community that you have created is beyond anything I could have imagined. I have always wanted to be a part of super supportive women. And I think I finally found it. And it's just wild to think that so many people from all over can come together on one same playing field. And even though technically we're probably at different levels or chapters, we are all in it together and we're here to support each other, which is just almost unheard of these days. So that is what inspires me, honestly. And seeing how hard you work inspires me. And yes, I am going to build an empire. I'm going to do it. And I think addressing what you were saying, how it can scare the bejesus out of somebody, it's true. And that has been the motto for this last probably 1.5 to 2 years of being solo. I have sticky notes all over my house that say, feel the fear and do it anyways.
Oh, I love that.
Feel the fear and then do it anyways, because, it's scary. What we're doing is scary. This is our livelihood. If we were to, lift the wrong person's brow, which hopefully that does not happen, but if we were to do that and they make a post to all their friends, and let's say they're a micro influencer, that could heavily affect
the fact that you could get sued.
Oh my God. That'll
there's a lot of, that's why we have insurance. There's always stuff, there's all the things, but it is like in our business, your reputation is everything. And Absolutely. That's why you want to treat your clients and treat your patients with the utmost respect, as we should treat all human beings. But I think that one of the biggest things for me, and I know I talk about this a lot, but it's we are doing so much more than shaping brows or, getting rid of unwanted hair, or it's so much deeper than that. And when you get that, and when you realize what you're doing for another individual, it completely just shifts the energy, and you don't have that carelessness. You don't have that, like everybody makes mistakes, and that's okay. Like nobody's perfect, but there's not this lack of just like carelessness or, oh, I don't want to do that, or, oh, whatever. When you realize like the real impact that you're making for somebody, when they're like, wow, I have the most amazing brows. I feel so confident, or my skin is glowing. I don't have to wear makeup. Now I have so much more time to spend with my kids, or, just whatever it is. Like I noticed when my husband was at MIT is the land of socially awkward people, right? It's all like everybody is these engineer, nerd, socially awkward people, just like my husband. I love him so much.
Same. My guy's an engineer too. I totally get it.
Yeah. Okay. So you walk on campus there and it's like, everyone's brilliant and everyone's so awkward. And when I was there, I started a health and beauty group, and I invited like a bunch of the females in there, because there's this whole thing with females in tech where they feel like they have to look frumpy or dress a certain way to be taken seriously, because you can't be pretty and smart. Just doesn't work that way.
So they say.
I was like, you guys are at MIT. Like you're smart. You've made it. You've passed that threshold, like nothing to prove to anybody. So why don't you just wear what you want to wear or look how you want to look? And I could care less if they don't want to wear makeup, or they don't want to do their brows, or they don't want to dress a certain way. Great. But do you? Because if you do want to, dress a certain way, you should be able to without being judged. And so one of the things for me with these women that they didn't know how to care for their skin, I'm like, if they can feel confident in who they are, and they have those brilliant minds that can solve big problems in the world, it's like, by me helping them, I'm helping the world.
Yeah.
It's this whole other, so I know that that's kind of like this extreme example, but it all is just connection. Like if you help someone be a better mom, if you help someone be a better friend, if you help someone be a better wife, like it really is, like, I know I'm like on this idealistic rant right now, but it really does make a big difference. And so, yeah.
Absolutely. Yeah. I mean, when you
right there.
Yeah. No, it's so true though. When you look good, you feel good. And when you feel good, you're going to do a good job. It's why I always dressed up for every single final that I took. Everyone else looked like they just rolled out of bed or that they had finished an all-nighter. But I was wearing a dress, my makeup was done. I felt good. And I knew I was going to do a good job on all my exams. And I think it's just a mindset. And that's also what you have to think about when you do take courses like yours. You can't just throw money at things and then expect it to just work for you. You have to do the work.
Right. Yeah. Do not join Spa Retail Rockstar and do no work. Nothing will happen.
Guaranteed.
And I think that that's a big thing. It's like, oh, well, I bought the program or I took the class. Like you can't take a microblading class for 2 days and think all of a sudden you're going to have a 6-figure business.
Yeah.
Like, I'm sorry, nobody learns microblading in 2 days. Like you just don't. And, so you've got to do the work in all things.
Yeah.
But I see that a lot in you and I love that. And my team sees that. And so that's why we're just like, okay, we've got to have her on. So start us from like your story with Spa Retail Rockstar. You went from averaging around 230 a month in retail. And then your first month after joining the program went up to about 1,200.
Yeah.
And what did you do? What changed?
That's the $1 million question right there. So ultimately, my mindset, I stopped making excuses. Mm-hmm. There was always and some excuse for why it wasn't working. Oh, I'm at the end of a 50-foot hallway. It just takes too long to walk them all the way down to the retail counter, and I'll just let them see themselves out at the end. Or I didn't want to come across as salesy, and there were just so many excuses that I was coming up with. So I saw my average. I took my average. There was even a month in there that I didn't sell a single thing. And we have a huge boutique. We have an entire wall of hair care and 2 huge shelving units of skincare products. There are tons of things to sell people. A lip balm, for goodness sake, nothing. I didn't sell a single thing. So that was very discouraging. And I knew that what I was doing in that moment was not working. So I had to change my mindset, and I had to trust somebody else. And I had to give up almost that control. And I had to allow you to tell me what to do, because I figured what I'm doing right now is not working. So I need to change something. And I don't know what direction to go, but you literally popped up on Facebook ads and you were like, hey, I heard you've been looking for me. Here I am. I heard your thoughts. And so here I am on a Facebook ad, because that's how Facebook works.
Yeah, Facebook is amazing. Like that.
And so I started slow. I actually, I was listening to your podcast for a while. I think since like last summer, for sure, probably like May of last year. I've been listening to your podcast, and I would apply the things that you would talk about, because even if I thought it was ridiculous, like the gift card, like, you know what I mean? Like,
I thought what you said was ridiculous.
No, never. That's what I'm saying. It's weird how we think about it in our heads is so like, oh, that'll never work. But then what I'm doing right now is not working. So I have to change it. I have to do something different. And then I started applying the things. What really stuck out is when I did the webinar with you and Tara on Facebook ads.
Uh-huh.
And I followed it to a T. And I was like, this is not going to work. I'm going to waste my money. I don't know what I'm doing. Blah, blah, blah. Excuse. I did it, and I got like a 36-cent click rate, something like that. Like it was really, or like a 3. It was like super duper duper low. And I remember asking you, hey, is this normal? Like I thought it was high. And I was like, hey, is this normal? And you're like, how did you do that? That was...
Because for those of you who don't know, Facebook ads average for our industry is $5. And so it's, to get a cost per lead, like it usually is $5, and you were doing like less than $1, less than 50 cents. I mean, It was nuts.
Yeah. But I literally followed what you did to a T. And I was like, skeptical. I did it, and it worked. It worked better than anybody else. And so I was like, okay, you know what? Maybe she's onto something. And so that was like the first little seed that was planted. And then your Facebook ad popped up about Spa Retail Rockstar. At this point, I knew I was not doing hot in retail at all, because I had many excuses. And so I joined in the last week in April of this year, 2019. And you gave us a challenge. And I really loved this challenge because it wasn't pitting us against each other. It was helping us to be better than our past selves.
Oh, that was the May challenge, right? So you joined in April, and then the challenge was in May.
Yeah.
So for those of you guys listening, inside Spa Retail Rockstar, one of the coolest things that we do is I love contest. Like I'm kind of competitive. So when what did we give away that time? Was that a Mac, a computer?
Yeah.
Yeah. We gave away a MacBook. Or was it?
No.
Was it the trip to come out to visit me and strategize?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah. You were going to pay for the plane tickets and the accommodations, I think.
Yeah. Yeah. And then spend the day. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
No, I think, that was Amanda that won. And so Amanda got a MacBook.
Giselle
won the last Mac that we did. We gave away a lot of crap. Because Amanda was the one who came out. No, Amanda won the Finish the Year Strong contest. Did we do $1,000 cash? What did we do? I can't remember, but okay. Anyway, it doesn't matter.
I don't remember either. But so the May challenge was, you just told us pick a goal, and then achieve the goal. It's very simple. And then I'll give you a prize, a very, very big prize. And for me, I love that you didn't make us compete against each other. It was more that I was just competing against myself.
Mm-hmm.
And so that's when I realized what my average retail was, which was $230 a month on average. And I thought to myself, you know what, if I just double this, I would be such a happy camper. And so I set the goal of $500 in retail sales. Mm-hmm. And then I got to work. I thought about all the excuses I was making for myself, like this really long hallway. And
which actually became like the biggest benefit.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. Another thing I should also mention, at this point, I hadn't gone through really like not even half of the course at this point because it was such a short amount of time. But what I wanted to say is that I did not do any like retail reversals. I didn't do any promotion of any kind, really, at all. And I don't even think I did much marketing for products at this moment. So I literally did nothing special. I just talked about product. And I used things like that long, long hallway to my advantage. So, for example, if I picked up my client in the relaxation room, as we're walking down the hallway, I would ask them, what are your skin concerns? And let's say that they mentioned something about sunspots. And I would ask them, oh, well, are you using vitamin C in your daily skincare routine? Well, I don't know. I don't read my product lists. And then I would say, well, you know what? If you're interested, I can use those products on you today. You can kind of get a feel for them. I'll set them out for you at the end so that you can look at them and feel them and know that they work well with your skin. And actually, lactic peel, like a really gentle lactic peel, would really help to not only address your current issues, prevent future issues, and it would really benefit your skin. You know, I would just talk about multiple different things while I was walking down this really long hallway.
So it's not only increasing your retail, but also your services.
Exactly.
Which is the thing. That's why I love retail, because it combines, it boosts everything.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. And so while I was talking to them, you know, I would talk to them about their day, but also I would talk to them about their skin. And I think we always want to be our clients' friends, which is super, you know, important to be personable. But at the end of the day, they are coming to you for a high dollar service, and you want to solve the problem they are coming to you for. Right. And that means taking care of their skin both while they are in your hands and at home. And it is in their hands at that point. So once I was done, for example, this is a facial example. So once I was done and I just did an upsell of a lactic peel, or a micro peel as I call it, and I finished with that, I let them know your skin is glowing. It'll feel beautiful for many days. And how often I recommend getting these. Also, if you really want to maintain these results, I'm going to set out some products for you, and they're all going to have things that will be perfect for your skin specifically.
Customized.
Mm-hmm.
That's the name of the game.
And then as I'm walking them back down this really long hallway, I would talk to them about it. And I would tell them, you want to cleanse first, and then you tone, and then you use a serum, you know, and so you just go through the thing, and always wear SPF. You don't have to wear it at night. You always have to say that, because sometimes they don't understand, but it's okay. And so, I mean, that's like 5 products right there, you know, cleanse, tone, serum, eye cream, moisturizer, SPF, right? Mm-hmm. And I would lay them all out, and I'd be like, these all have things that would benefit your skin specifically. And usually, you know, when people have I found that when you lay things out, they will typically ask me, what are the 2 products I absolutely have to have today? And I would always list 3. So I would say these 2 for sure, but I just don't think you can live without this one either. So like, I can't pick 2, but I'm going to say these 3. And oftentimes they would get all 3. If they weren't, only if they asked that question, oftentimes they would just buy the whole line. Whereas before, I was just letting them go down the hallway and be like, okay, I'll see you next time. Just.
You're leaving money on the table.
Exactly.
And the thing is, like, I am a big advocate of making the entire home care regimen at once, because for me, it's like the most salesy thing to be like, every time you come in here, you need this product and this product and this product. It's like, no, just tell me your recommendation from the beginning. And then, then I know what it is.
Yeah.
And once you get that system down, once you get comfortable making the entire home care regimen, like for me, 99% of the time, they would purchase the entire thing.
Yeah.
And it's just, people care. They want to be, it's health. It's about your health too, and if they're knowing that they're getting something that's customized for them. And obviously you will have people with budgetary restraints. You will have people who just simply don't see the value, and that's fine.
Yeah.
Not about you, but it's about you doing your job, which is to make your recommendation.
And that's what I think is huge. It is a recommendation. We're not really selling. Sell is not another 4-letter word. It's just, we're educating people. We're telling them, this, you have a problem. Here's 6 different solutions you can use for it. And if you use them all at the same time, you're going to be golden. And
so let's talk about the beach house.
Yeah.
So you had your time as a solo, and now you're in this your next phase. So you've moved out of being a solo, and now you're moving into your own location, starting your own spa, hiring your own team. What has been like, what was that transition like for you? And what was the catalyst? Did you always want to have your own spa? Like, tell me the story here.
Yeah. Okay. Wow. So I did know that I always wanted to do this since I was in high school. I saw that my aunt had her own thing going on, and I was like, oh my gosh, she always has money and she always has free time. I want to live that life. So I kind of always knew, but it was really ingrained in me to go to a 4-year university, go to school. So I for a hot second, I thought I wanted to be a doctor. Don't we all, right? And so then I got off my pedestal and I was like, you know what? I'm just going to do what I know I'm really good at.
Is that a pleasing your parents kind of thing?
125 million %. Yes. Yeah. So I did that. Also, if you remember, I was putting myself through college, cutting hair, doing skin. Mm-hmm. So it was always meant to be. But so I always wanted to do this. I knew I wanted cosmetology so that I could do everything in case I ever wanted to change my mind, or, for example, I can do lash lifts, whereas an esthetician can't because it's a perm technically, for at least for my state. Yeah. And so, so the trend, it's something I've always wanted. It has been terrifying. Absolutely terrifying.
Post-it notes.
Yes. Wait, so many. My boyfriend makes fun of me all the time. He's like, well, I always know when you're having a day because there's an extra color of sticky note added on top of the other colors. So bless his heart. He takes such good care of me. But so it was scary. And back to that quote, feel the fear and then do it anyways. It's like the reward outweighs the risk at this point, because there were a lot of things I didn't feel like I was getting from my independent contractor location. One of them being a really long hallway, but also I wanted my own skincare line. I wanted to be able to formulate my own things and stand behind my product 100%. And now I can do that. And it's something I've always wanted. My whole life has been about the beach. So I thought it was fit. Everyone knows me as the Cali girl here. So it just seemed fit.
So making this leap and going, what was the most scary part for you?
Oh my,
Is it the fear of failure, or is it like, I'm not good enough? Like, what is the thing, what comes up when it's like, I'm going to go into this, opening my own spa, hiring people, formulating a line, like all of that?
that's tricky. And I'm going to say that it's just all of it. Yeah. It's scary because you kind of, if you're alone with your own thoughts, it can be kind of scary sometimes. And I just finished listening to one of your podcasts, storytelling from Celine, I think is her name.
Yeah. Celine DaCosta.
Yeah. And you talked about being vulnerable. And so this is a vulnerable thing for me to say right now, but I care a lot about what other people think, especially in an industry where technically other people's opinions about you matter. And so to a degree, of course, but when you're opening up your own business, it makes you wonder, yeah, am I going to be good enough? Is this going to be enough for my clients, for my family? Am I going to be able to provide for my family? And, all those really scary thoughts that you didn't think you had kind of pop up, and it startles you a little bit. But then little things start happening, like clients get extremely excited and they're like, how are you going to decorate? Are you going to do anything different? Like, where is it located? I want to know everything. Mm-hmm. And that kind of, fills your cup a little bit more. And then, you're part of a group of people, and you post on there, a picture of your content calendar, and people go nuts for it and they love it, like what I did. And I was like, okay, maybe my head is on right a little bit.
I think it's actually just very human. I mean, I think it would be strange if you weren't afraid. There's a healthy degree of fear in mm-hmm. anything that we do, right? If we're doing something that's new, but as you know, like all the magic happens when you step outside of your comfort zone. And it doesn't mean that you have to like take this enormous leap, but you can just take baby steps and baby steps and baby steps. And, as you go, then it's like, oh, well, that baby step was really not a big deal. But if you were to go from, Amanda that sold 230 in retail to Amanda that's now opening her own location without the in-between mindset growth, that is a way bigger leap than the baby step that it has been on this gradual process. So I think it's totally normal. And also, like, no matter what anybody says, everybody cares to some degree what mm-hmm. people think of you. Yeah. You just do. You can manage it. You can say like, yeah, that sucks, but I'm going to choose to. So what my coach says to me, because, you get like people on the internet, like saying things or like writing notes back or whatever. And he's like, listen, if a homeless, like drunk person, if a mentally ill person and, were yelling at you that you're an idiot, would you care? Right? You wouldn't pay, like, God bless that person and wish them so much love and all of that. But like, it's not going to affect your day. Mm-hmm. And so if someone on the internet that you don't know, that you like, why are you letting them have power over your dream?
Absolutely.
And, and that for me really connected, because I was like, you know what? Like, just because they're writing a comment on Facebook, like, who knows who these people even are on Facebook? I mean, there's so many just like random people, and it's like, all you need to focus on are your clients, the people that you're helping that are like, yes, how are you going to decorate? Yes, I can't wait. Yes, I'm so excited. And you take that energy. That's why it's so important, the people that you surround yourself with.
Oh, yeah. And you mentioned, You mentioned something about the baby steps. Another sticky note post or quote that I have, I heard it on a podcast, of course. And I think it's been top of mind lately, especially, and forgive me, I don't remember who said it, but he said, it's not about the light at the end of the tunnel, right? So it's not about that big end goal. Like once you get there, then you've reached freedom or, whatever that goal is for you. It's not about the light at the end of the tunnel. It's about keeping the tunnel lit along the way. So making sure that that you can see where you're going, and maybe there's a better path, a different way to get to an even bigger goal. And that's why what you have done has been so beneficial to me, because you are making me aware of these things like this, that it doesn't, to some degree, it is really good to have that kind of fear because it keeps things balanced, but it's also not healthy to have too much fear as well.
That it's, you want enough to be like, wow, this is exciting.
Yeah.
But not so much that you're completely paralyzed and won't take action.
Yeah.
And the balance.
Yeah. And I think before, like maybe about a year or two ago, I definitely did feel that paralyzing fear. And that's kind of where that quote comes from, or that saying that I tell myself, feel the fear and do it anyways. Because I tell myself it's okay to feel this, and it is okay to be afraid, but do it anyways, because it's not going to kill you. Nothing bad will happen if you do this.
My exercise when I'm scared about something, and this is from my husband, who's like nuclear engineer, he has like 700 backup plans for everything. And so when we talk about, he's like, I mean, if you knew how many fire extinguishers were in our house. He's always like, what's the worst thing that's going to happen? And let's just start there. And it's like, well, my whole business would close. You think of like, what is the worst thing that would happen? And then what happens if your whole business closed? Do you lose your value as a person? Do you not have food on the table? Do you not have a home? You're like looking at all of these things, and like, yes, why it would be a tremendous blow to your ego. There's always like, well, I could get a job. I could do what, so you think about like, and I'm not saying do that to like make these crazy drastic decisions, but when you look at like, well, what is the absolute worst thing that you could imagine happening? And when you do it that way, it's like, it's not that bad. It's like, like I love my business. My business is my first baby, and it's
same.
It's like such a huge part. So I would never want to just do anything that would be like, oh yeah, well, my business will probably close. But in the same way, like when you're thinking about it, that has nothing to do with my worth or value as a person. And I think that we, especially as entrepreneurs, tie that in to, well, if my business closes, or if I fail, or if someone judges me, then my life is over and I just suck as a human being. And it's not true.
Yeah, not true at all.
Yeah.
And I think it's very common I see it so often in this industry. So many women especially are wrapped up in that emotional mindset. And business can't be emotional for the most part. You have to make those numerical, analytical, logical decisions. So
100% I agree with you on objective decisions in business. Like I am the numbers person, right? But I think that business is emotional. I really do think the act of like, so I'm very data driven in making business decisions, but when you're an entrepreneur, you're on a freaking like roller coaster of emotions.
Yeah.
It's like two different, it's like, wow, this is the most exciting, awesome thing ever. And then, oh my God, my life is over. I have no friends. And you like go through these ups and downs. But, and so there's that piece of the psychological, like, am I ever going to make it? I'm working so hard. But when you're making business decisions, when you're negotiating, when you're doing, looking at how you're operating your business, 100% no emotion, data driven.
Yeah.
But that's the two, like for me, where I have to distinguish those two. pieces.
I absolutely agree. And I battle between it too. And it's just knowing when each is important in that moment.
Yeah. So I think that that's the value of community, is like going in your community and just being like, oh my God.
Yeah.
Like my life is over. I mean, look at Michelina.
Yeah.
Remember, so we had a gal in our group who, just had an unfortunate situation with her space. And she was like, oh my gosh, I don't know how this is going to work. And she was just really upset.
Yeah.
And then turns around, she found like the most amazing location, super excited, better than she could have ever imagined.
Yeah.
And that's the emotional ups and downs of being an entrepreneur. Happens to everybody, you guys. You're not alone. Like,
oh yeah, it's happened to me.
Yeah.
And I think that helped her a lot because there were so many girls that jumped on that post and were like, hey, this has happened to me too. So one, you're going to get through it. Everything is going to be okay.
I think I said, put your big girl pants on.
Yeah.
I was like, cry, have some wine, take a bath, do whatever you need to do. But tomorrow you're putting your big girl pants on and this is what's going to happen.
Yes. Yes. Yeah. And we've all been there. Here's the solution. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. But, and she then moving forward makes a data decision, a data driven decision, but it's totally like, I don't want women to go into business and think that only analytical people are going to be able to make it, because that's not the case.
Yeah.
It's just not. So cool. Okay. So what bit of advice what has been the most important piece of advice that you would want to share with other estheticians? I think it's probably going to be your fear one, but just for those estheticians who are in that space, like, I want to stay in this industry. I want to make it. I have big dreams, but what I'm doing is not working. What do I do?
You have to do the work. You have to do the work. And it doesn't need to be, anybody's work in particular. It just needs to be different than what you're doing right now, because what you're doing right now is not working. So have trust in yourself to make mistakes, learn from them, feel the fear, and then do it anyways. And keep trying something different until something does work. And that's why, Danielle, I love what you teach the most, because it works for me and for my business. But I also do the work. I don't just throw my money at something and then hope it works. I do the work.
And I think that that's a really important point, is that there's a ton of coaches out there. There's a ton of programs out there, and there's a ton of really awesome people teaching them. And it's really about finding the person that you connect with, because there is not a 7-step plan for a, 6-figure or 7-figure esthetician business. It just doesn't work that way.
Yeah.
There's different things that will work for different people. And your job is to find the person that you connect with. And I've said this a million times. I always say it with Kirsten Foss, who's in Canada. I love her. But I'm like, you and I could teach the exact same thing, and one person could hate me and love you. And the reality is it doesn't matter, because we're all in this to build this industry up. So it's about finding the person that you connect with that does provide high value information, right? That's important, because there are, you've got to know your numbers. You've got to understand social media. You've got to understand, patient communication or client communication. There's like fundamentals, but you've got to find your people and then just go all in. And that's what's really going to make the change.
Yeah, absolutely. And you can't make excuses, like, I don't have enough time, or, I have 12 kids, we all have something.
Lord help us.
I know.
No, but that is the thing. It's like, I always use myself, because we've had, military family, had 7 moves in 6 years. I had a daughter that didn't sleep for 14 months. There's every excuse in the book of, I don't have enough time, but there's always enough time. Are you going to give up watching Netflix at night? Are you going to, like, what are you going to do to make it work? Because if, Oprah has the same amount of hours in the day as we do.
Mm-hmm.
And Oprah's doing her thing. And she did not start out with millions of dollars. She is a self-made person. So if she can do it, there's nothing different between us and Oprah, except that she's done the work, right?
Yes, absolutely. So that's my number one piece of advice. No excuses, just do the work. Yep.
Awesome.
Yeah.
So tell everyone where they can find you, follow you, keep in touch with the beach house and how you're doing and all of that kind of stuff.
Absolutely. So Instagram is the best way to get a hold of me, honestly. I'm at Peoria Beach House, Peoria Beach House. Or you can follow my skincare line, Amanda Luisa Skincare. That's AMANDA LUISA Skincare.
Perfect. Well, we'll link those up below this episode. Thank you so much for your time. Thank you so much for doing the work. Thank you so much for being an awesome person. I love having you in the group. I love having you as a friend. So I really, really appreciate your time.
Oh my gosh. Thank you so much, Daniela. The feeling is mutual. Thank you so much for the opportunity to share my story today.